I'm at the Arrowhead Mall here in Muskogee, Oklahoma. And there are not very many cars in the parking lot. In fact, I'm the only one in the parking lot, at least here. I think this is like the main entrance. Yeah, this might be a special Dead Mall video. We'll have to wait and see. But see if we can tell you a little bit about Muskogee and maybe a little about the history of this mall.
Muskogee was originally inhabited by native tribes such as the Osage and the Caddo. In the 1830s, following the Indian Removal Act, the area became part of Indian Territory and a new home for several tribes who were forcibly relocated from the southeastern United States. The city's name comes from the Muskogee Creek Nation, one of the tribes that resettled in this area. It grew in significance in the late 19th century when it became the administrative center for the Dawes Commission, which was responsible for allotting tribal lands to individuals and paving the way for Oklahoma statehood, which happened in 1907. The arrival of the railroad in the 1870s sparked growth. By the early 20th century, it was one of the most prosperous cities in Indian Territory, featuring electric streetcars, brick-paved roads, and a thriving downtown. You can see a lot of those old buildings here as we're driving through the downtown. Population shot up there when statehood happened, just before 1910, and then went up to 40,000 people, and it's down to about 37,000 today. And as you look at the drone footage off to the left, that is Arrowhead Mall. Arrowhead Mall was built in 1987, and as we were looking at those population figures, the city's population was about 40,000, and there's 432,000 square feet in this mall. So a pretty big mall for a city of 40,000. Obviously, it's gotten a little bit smaller. But you see, as we drive around the outside, no cars in the parking lot. There are no anchor stores left. You saw JCPenney and Stage, and then the cinema there, which obviously isn't in business anymore either. Before we take a walk around the inside, I decided to check out their website. And here is their website. Welcome to Arrowhead Mall. We hope you enjoy your visit. That's nice. Looks like they have a food court, so we'll definitely go check that out. They have a Facebook page with more information. So we'll scroll down here, click on that Facebook page. Not available right now. Well, maybe some of the other website parts will have information. There's this mobile text program. So I went and signed up for that. Arrowhead Mall. I did like an autocorrect. Needed to be all one word, it said on the other thing, so maybe that's why I didn't get anything. Arrowhead Mall, all one word. And I can tell you I've never received anything back. So I don't know if I'm in the text program or not. Click on stores, see what we got. Nothing found. Maybe sales. Nothing found. Oh, they have an aquarium? Nope, I guess not. Not sure. There's the text sign up. No, you can't do that either. We'll go down and check out the mall directory. Yep. No luck there. All right. Well, I guess we're going to have to go in and find out for ourselves. Unlike the last Dead Mall video I did in Fort Worth where there was music playing, it was just absolute silence. I was wondering if I was the only person here. Welcome to Arrowhead Mall. Not too much candy to choose from. I'm guessing this is the central part of the mall. And it's nice. You know, obviously it was clean, and they had some natural light there. So you walk over to the food court area, and they had this tent kind of a look, which is actually pretty cool.
There's not much going on over here. And there's the cinema that we saw from the outside. I'm assuming there probably was tables around here. And then there's a nail salon. And I think that's the only store I saw that was actually open. So the directory has a list of a bunch of stores, but I do not think this has been updated in a long time. Got the Dynasty Express. You talked about the food court on their website. That obviously hasn't been updated for a while. Man, it's kind of crazy walking around. So we got another Express. We got the Juice Express. We got an area here to lease. We could put another Express type food place if we needed to. I mean, it's kind of hard to not make jokes, but obviously these were businesses that went, out of business or decided to move. So it's not funny, but it's just so strange walking around a place where it's just totally empty. Kind of unreal. And I'm just going to walk around and show you what is here. Tell you a little bit more about it. It was built in 1987. Like I said, it was owned by Warmack and Company. And then in 2005, a guy named Jay Herzog bought it. So in 2010, there was a deadly shooting that broke out here. 5 people were hurt. 1 person died. Said it was gang related. And then Herzog decided to update the mall in 2014, but then Sears announced closure of its store. And then in 2016, the mall went into receivership and was put up for sale by Wells Fargo. They sold the mall to an investor in 2018. It's currently managed by Property Managers LLC out of Fort Worth, Texas, which is funny because that's the last Dead Mall video that I just shot was in Fort Worth. Get noticed, advertise here. Obviously, that's another thing that would make you chuckle, but is also kind of sad. But Dillard's closed in 2019, Stage closed in 2020, and then JCPenney closed in 2020. That was the final anchor store. So left with no anchor stores, and like this pretzel store just closed obviously a long time ago. The middle of the mall, little businesses, nothing left. Kind of walking back towards the middle of the mall again, where we started. And here's that JCPenney that closed in 2020. It's really strange to see something like that that's just totally empty and nothing has gone in there. They had a police department office here, and I did see 1 person in there, like a administrative person. Maybe they just have a person that's kind of in the mall when it's open. But now we're walking down to the other end of the mall. Like I said, it's a reasonably decent-sized mall. You can see what it used to be. This is just incredible. There's just nothing here. Down on the other end, they did have a nice mural. I'm guessing that's something in the downtown area of Muskogee. And now we reached the end of the mall. Remember that text group? And if you weren't sure what the number is, there it is on the wall. Each has its own frame. I mean, that's kind of funny to me. I don't know. And then also another plea to advertise here. Back to where we came in the building. I think this is a Mexican restaurant. I'm pretty sure. Do not enter. You're on camera. Well, so were they on this day. And then as we leave, there's some typed instructions on how to open the door to leave, and then it's some written in pencil.
So we follow the pencil written instructions, and now we have some, it's like some pen or marker instructions to get out the last door. And you know, at this point, you just kind of have to laugh. It's a sad situation here at the Arrowhead Mall. I showed you pretty much everything the way it was. It wasn't like there were other stores I didn't show.
Wow.
This is the way it is. There's my car out there. So definitely a sad situation. And if you're into dead malls, you're gonna want to come to Muskogee, Oklahoma, and check out Arrowhead Mall, because this is about as dead as it can get.